Metal Gear Survive has been out for almost a week now. It's already one of the most divisive games of 2018. Arguments abound over whether the game is actually any good, and its microtransactions are under some pretty intense scrutiny. And now some players have discovered what appears to be a hidden message from the developers in the game.
Over the weekend, a rather interesting Easter egg was discovered at the beginning of Metal Gear Survive. During the game's intro, there's a list of soldiers who have disappeared or died in the game. At first glance, there's nothing suspicious about the list, and it looks just like the developers are trying to immerse the players in the world. But if you look at the first letter of the second names, it spells out KJP forever. KJP was a term used by Metal Gear developers in the past to refer to their former studio, Kojima Productions. Twitter user Michael Yurko was the first to discover the Easter egg, and it appears to be a nod to Metal Gear's former creators. For those who might not remember, Kojima Productions was the internal game studio at Konami, headed up by Hideo Kojima before it was shut down in 2015, and Kojima's employment at Konami was terminated. Since the closure, Kojima has reformed Kojima Productions as an independent company, and they are now in the process of developing Death Stranding with Sony. Nobody is sure if the inclusion of this Easter egg was an intentional move by the developers or if it was simply an incredible coincidence. By my reckoning, an incredible coincidence would pretty much be impossible if you kind of look at the likelihood that all these letters would be lined up by random. Somebody around somewhere, and somebody's getting fired over this, surely. Surely someone's got to get fired.
I mean, the odds of it saying KJP forever is incredibly low. That would have been a miracle, so this is not a coincidence. Someone did this on purpose. Another interesting thing about this potential Easter egg is the last two code names on the list: Bastard Yota and Cunning Yuji. Bastard Yota, some people think, could be referring to Yota Tsutsumizaki, the director of Metal Gear Survive, who's now in charge of the Metal Gear series following Kojima's departure. And Cunning Yuji, some people think, could be referring to Yuji Kurikado, the producer of Metal Gear Survive and a Konami veteran who has worked on almost every game in the Metal Gear series. In another sad turn, people also spotted the code names Iron Marlin and Dyer Gibbon. The first letters of those second names spells MG, an abbreviation for Metal Gear. Tragically, both Iron Marlin and Dyer Gibbon are listed as killed in action, possibly referring to the death of the Metal Gear series. Now, I just want to point out, this isn't our theory. This is what people are saying. I don't think that's just a little bit...
It's a bit of a stretch, that one.
Too much for me, yeah. It's a bit too abstract, and it stinks of someone who's going, look, MG, and they're both killed in action. Maybe they've died. Maybe they were killed in action, just like Metal Gear. Metal Gear's died.
I mean, you look at the other coincidences, right? They were almost nailed on. Whereas this, I mean, it could be a stretch, but then again, it since the other ones are almost definitely planted in there by some developer somewhere, there's a great chance that this is too. If the only instance of it happening, then obviously it's a bit of a stretch. But to put the first names of the director and the producer, it's like someone dissing us saying, oh, Bastard Gareth and what was it, Cunning Michael or something in one of our videos or something like that, as if that's not going to be us. Of course it's us, and of course it's the people working on this game.
But what's amazing though is that he's directed this game and he's okayed. I'm presuming that he's seen that and gone, that's fine. We can have that.
That's ridiculous.
I am a bastard.
It's also worth mentioning, now Metal Gear Survive has been released and is in the hands of gamers worldwide, discussion about the game has been incredibly divisive. On the Metal Gear Solid subreddit, Survive has been a point of contention with some fans who have stood by the game saying it's enjoyable and a decent spin-off of the Metal Gear series. But then there are other fans who absolutely hate Survive, calling it a cheap attempt to cash in on the Metal Gear name, and it only tarnishes the series' reputation. Metal Gear Survive then angered people even more when it was discovered that if you want to have more than one character at a time, you had to pay a microtransaction of $10 for an additional character slot, which is bollocks. Oddly enough, charging for additional character slots is not something new to the Metal Gear series. Metal Gear Online 2, which is the online portion of Metal Gear Solid 4, made players pay for additional character slots back in 2006, and Konami did the same again in Metal Gear Online 3. Finally, there is the always online requirement, even though the game is predominantly single player. An internet connection is required to play at all times. All of this has already made Metal Gear Survive infamous for all the wrong reasons. Overall, Metal Gear Survive hasn't left many people hopeful about the future of the Metal Gear franchise, and Metal Gear Survive will likely go down as a critical and commercial disappointment.
It really is quite interesting how much of an argument there is online about this. Really rabid arguments on both sides. People saying this is actually absolutely terrible, it's a disgrace to the series, and there's another side that are going, I'm kind of enjoying it actually. It is very polarised is the word, because they're on the extremes of people. Well, the extreme of someone saying it's alright actually. Trust me, that can be an extreme because of how loudly they say it. But there's you know, it's interesting how it's really just not only split the fan base, but really pushed them really far apart. It's a weird situation, I think.
News came out this morning as well that over the weekend it only managed 6th in the UK physical charts, which Eurogamer are describing as a flop. Yeah, I mean 6th. I mean, was expecting to get any higher than that. It's quite a niche game in itself. I mean, the series Metal Gear.
I guess it's not really a crowded window or anything. Maybe because there's nothing else. You know, what is the 5 games that are on top of it is the interesting question, isn't it? Maybe I should have checked.
Yeah,
but
it's oh, you know what it is. It's the likely GTA 5. It's GTA 5 in all the top 5 spots, obviously. For me, the issue is not whether the game is playable or not, or whether it's enjoyable to play or not. For me, the issue is the microtransactions. The fact that it's just there just to serve microtransactions. I mean, from what I read about it, the gameplay is boring, right? That's what people are describing it as. So, like, I don't know, £10 for a character slot. Off. I'm not going anywhere near that game. Anything like that turns me off straight away to a game, and it doesn't matter if it's any good at all. I'm just not touching it.
Donkey as well did a video on it, and that kind of captures, I guess, what the essence of what the critics are saying, or the gamers who are criticising the game. Metal Gear Solid 5 was like sandbox of creativity. You could just jump in there, and there were so many different tools you could use and have a laugh with and have a lot of fun with. But that's not what this game is at all. This game is very stiff, and it's like a very procedural kind of just put a fence down, the zombies will come to the fence, prod them through the fence with a spear, you win. And that's totally different to Metal Gear Solid 5, which was so creative in its gameplay, and obviously that's why people love Hideo Kojima so much, because he puts that kind of genius and design into the game, and that's obviously missing this time, and that's, you know, a big part of the criticism about the game.
So what do you guys think of Metal Gear Survive? Are you not interested at all, or do you like putting chain link fences up and prodding zombies in the head through it? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new around here, check out another one of the videos there. Support us on Patreon if you're pretty good. We'll see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.